Here we are yet again at the end of a year full of video games and the horrors of our reality. This was another big year for me in my personal life since I guess I can't decide on where I want to stay until I die, so because of moving and whatnot, I only got to play a handful of new games this year. But I also took some time to go back and play some stuff from previous years I missed out on, and even some retro trash from way back when, so I thought it would be fun to list my top 10 favorite gaming experiences from 2025. Doesn't matter what year the game came out, I just have had to either play it or beat it for the first time this year. But to start off, let me throw out some honorable mentions. Mario Kart World was fun, but it didn't have enough incentive to keep me coming back to it. Hopefully some DLC will come out to fluff it out more. Pac-Man World 2 Repack is a solid game, but I think it felt a little too different compared to the original game. Also, Pac-Man won't shut up, and the fact that he's voiced by the same guy who voiced Jack and Juiced makes me want to die. Pirate Yakuza was really fun, but it was also probably the most skippable Yakuza game in a while. Aside from the after credits scene, I can't say much of the game really progresses any of the series characters too much. Split Fiction, I was playing this one with my fiance, and we absolutely loved It Takes Two, but this one, we just really weren't vibing with the characters, so we didn't really end up finishing it. We're probably gonna go back and finish it, but I don't know, man. The writing is not our favorite. Oh, and I have to mention Look Outside here, mainly because I've only dabbled in it a little bit, but I know for a fact that if I put more time into it, it would have been in my top 5 this year for sure. I didn't want to force myself to speed through it though. I want to take my time and enjoy it, but I've only played through 1.5 days, and I don't think that's enough for me to give an actual critique of it. But from what I've played, yeah, this game is excellent. As for some older things I played, MotorStorm's a really fun racing game for the PS3. I talked more about it in my favorite car games video, so if you watch that, you'll be able to hear me gush about it. And I finally played most of Shin Megami Tensei 5. I didn't finish it, but I do like it a lot, and I will finish it when I have the time to. And finally, some newer games from this year that I did not play. Hades 2, Hollow Knight Silksong, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, sequels to games that I still haven't played but definitely will at some point. Ghost of Yotei, a sequel to a game I did play, I just haven't gotten around to it yet. And Raido Remastered, a remake of a game I've attempted to play 3 times and stopped every time because I got really bored. Now this remake looks like it'll actually hold my attention to the end because the combat looks fun. You're not just mashing a single button the whole time, go figure. I'm sure there's others I'm forgetting, but let's get into my top 10 favorite gaming experiences from 2025. So this right here is the most last minute addition to the list because I was literally in the writing process and was planning on putting it in the plan to play segment. But I just popped it in because why not, and I'm actually very impressed with Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. The last Sega kart game I played was Sega and All-Star Racing Transform, which I really liked. But I skipped Team Sonic Racing because I just didn't really care to try it. Cross Worlds' concept of warping between different tracks as well as the inclusion of extreme gears from Sonic Riders did pique my interest. What sold me though were these character interactions. If there's one thing recent Sonic games have done well is fan service through characters actually discussing the lore or interacting with each other. And I really love that characters you wouldn't even think of interacting would say something to each other. Like, what the fuck would Big the Cat say to Zavok from Sonic Lost Worlds?
I don't like folks who are mean to my friends. I sense a tremendous power behind those words. Am I feeling fear?
See, I love that they're not afraid to be funny or have there be some heat between characters. I do have to ask, why did they decide to give everyone the most annoying barks for when they do flips in the air? As for the gameplay, it feels like Mario Kart, but it's also not Mario Kart. It's smooth, but sometimes I feel like my habits from the Mario Kart series cause me to make some silly decisions. Like when you drift and then let go, you don't immediately boost, you have to leave the button unpressed for half a second longer than you'd think to get the boost. Cause if you immediately push the drift button after letting go, you'll just start drifting again. Useful for snaking and building one big boost, but you gotta keep it in mind. The different vehicle types do kind of feel different, but sometimes I can't seem to figure out what the right way to use them is. You really gotta take advantage of the gear systems if you wanna make your car faster, otherwise you'll be left in the dust. And if you go up against a max level rival, they will ratio you unless you have everything you need to go max speed. Even then, you gotta deal with some dumbass items still. But if it wasn't fun, I wouldn't be coming back to it. And the other part I really love about this game is the Cross Worlds mechanic.
Dragon Road. Decisive acceleration.
The way any race works is that you do a lap on the track, lap 2 will warp you to some other track, and then lap 3 goes back to the initial track with some changes. I love how unpredictable each race is, and with the amount of variety of tracks there are, you won't be bored at all during a cup. I like that the last race has you doing one race on each of the 3 initial tracks from the cup too. Honestly, I feel like Crossworlds take advantage of its gimmick better than Mario Kart World does with its open world gimmick. Not that I'm dogging on Mario Kart World, I really did enjoy that game, but I'm just saying that Sonic Racing Crossworlds is a much more exciting experience to look at. I've been playing it for more than an afternoon and there's still stuff to unlock. Crazy concept! Obviously I'm exaggerating, but the point is I am very much enjoying Sonic Racing Crossworlds and I intend to keep playing it. Especially since I can be freaking SpongeBob. The DLC is wild, man. I know this is going to be mentioned in the next Yakuza game. Please make this canon.
Don't get distracted, handsome. We're here to race, so keep your eyes on the road.
Come on, you're talking to a pro here. I know how to handle the curves like an expert.
Admittedly, I haven't played that many Donkey Kong games. I always really liked DK, but you know, sometimes there's just some games you just never get around to. But once I saw Donkey Kong Bonanza during the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal, I knew I had to get it, mainly to justify the purchase. And yeah, Donkey Kong Bonanza is really good. Now, just to put it out there, I haven't finished it yet, and I've heard that the finale is insane, so the only reason why this is at number 9 is because I suck at finishing stuff sometimes. But I had to include it because the game is once again an extremely tight, high-quality Nintendo experience. The terrain mechanics are really fun to mess around with, in addition to how impressive they are for what many consider to be an underpowered console. Initially, I wasn't sure how they would keep the mechanic interesting, but they really do everything they could have thought of with it. But really, with how satisfying these sound effects are, I honestly didn't need much. I think the sound design in this game is its best part, right down to the sound effects every time you get the big bananas. I do kind of miss when it was more like, oh, banana. But this is still cute. Speaking of sound design, I don't think Pauline left too much of an impression on me as a character, but I do like the songs in the game quite a bit, and a lot of that is her singing is nice. I can't say I care too much for the Bonanza forms themselves in a platformer. I admit that's more of a two-taste sort of thing, but the songs that play during them are pretty damn good. I will say, I don't think too much of the plot in this game. It's not bad, it's just kind of more there than anything. Seeing different types of people or having these villains be cartoony is pretty fun, but Nintendo, can you please let your characters talk? Hearing VoidCon go ah bah bah bah, followed by Pauline calling out his hypocritical philosophy in plain English, it's just jarring, like there's no reason why these new characters couldn't just talk. It is fun punching them though. This is just a really satisfying game to play overall. It's simple but has some depth to it, digging joke, and I intend to finish it as soon as I can get this layer of dust off my Switch 2. Death Stranding 2 is such a confusing game to me. I remember coming out of the game feeling like I had a great time, but then whenever I think back to it, I don't feel as positive about it as I did with the original Death Stranding. Before I get into it, I do want to say I did like this game overall, it's why it's number 8, but I feel like I need to do a second playthrough to talk about why I feel like the plot wasn't as sound as the first game's was. But if I had to abstractly describe what I'm talking about as to not spoil anything, it kind of feels like one of those horse memes where the very beginning is great, the middle not so good, and the end is good again. I like the conclusions we come to by the end, I just kinda didn't like how we got there emotionally with the characters. But that's a video for another time. The game itself is really fun. I actually vastly prefer the map here compared to 1, and I love all the additions to Sam's gear. You can stack the ladders. Yes! This game is pushing the PS5 for sure, because not only does it look beautiful, but it also runs perfectly, and I love how seamless this whole world feels. There's a lot more combat in this game too, and I do like that it feels better to shoot things than it does in 1. Though if I'm being honest, I don't know if that's necessarily what I wanted improved from the first game, but I can't deny that shooting these ghost mechs is really satisfying. One more aspect of this game I really do like is the music. Unfortunately, Low Roar passed away, so the major musical influence in this game is the artist Woodkid. And I gotta say, To the Wilder is an amazing track, absolutely beautiful. Ludwig Forstel's score is also fantastic. Honestly, for any problem I do have with the game narratively, just one little bit of the soundtrack playing will shut me up and make me forget I had any issues to begin with. I think I'll do a full video on Death Stranding 1 and 2 one day to really try to figure out what this emotion I feel about 2 is. But if there's one thing I can safely say is that there's still nothing quite as interesting as a Kojima game. God damn. So I played this game for a little bit a couple years ago, but this was the time I decided to sit down and fully immerse myself into it, since I wanted something spooky for Halloween. Given that this is also right after I started reading through Berserk, which this game takes heavy inspiration from, Fear and Hunger definitely hit me at the right place and the right time. Before I say anything else, this is one of those games that needs a huge content warning ahead of it. Obviously, I won't be showing anything too graphic on screen, but if you don't like super dark and violent media with themes of abuse, I wouldn't even bother thinking about trying this game out. But aside from that, what I really like about Fear and Hunger is how it's able to create such an oppressive atmosphere through RPG Maker of all things, which has been used to create some amazing projects like Off or Yume Nikki. But what makes Funger stand out to me is that it uses the RPG format but does not adhere to standard RPG mechanics. So combat in this game is not as simple as hit and then get hit. You gotta pick which part of the enemy you want to attack in an attempt to incapacitate it or go for the kill. Maybe you want to take out the arms so they can't do their potentially deadly attacks, or take out their legs to stagger them and make their head an easy target, or maybe you want to chop off their dinger. Each fight's more like a puzzle, and other than being able to loot their corpse, you don't really get anything for fighting in this game, so you could also just avoid combat altogether if you want to. This game is mean, right down to 80% of the save points in the game being a coin flip on whether or not you'll actually be able to save. I don't know if one would find this to be a well-designed game. I mean, I saw a lot of the game before I actually played it, so it's not like I can be the judge on that, but I feel like what Funger does best is make you feel how hopeless, pointless, and downright cruel this world is. Does it go too far? Absolutely. Its use of graphic imagery is well done until it starts showing things that it really doesn't need to show. It at the very least doesn't come off like a poorly disguised fetish. It's all properly ugly, but at the same time it does feel a little 3 edgy 5 me, and the creator even acknowledged this to my knowledge. All that said though, I really did like my time with Funger, and I did start Funger 2, which I can already tell is going to be a much better experience overall. If you want to feel like you're in the world of Berserk but you're, this guy, then play Fear and Hunger. Just, get that censor mod if you feel like you'll want that. Playing through Alan Wake back in 2023 made me realize how badly I was sleeping on the developer Remedy. So I started playing Max Payne, and I liked it, but I never ended up finishing it. That didn't deter me from going to a more modern Remedy game though, which was Control. Going into it, I had absolutely no idea what to expect. All I knew that there was DLC in the game that related to Alan Wake's story, and you get to play as a cute redhead. Once the opening of the game starts doing all this weird mind screw stuff, I was not only surprised, but I was instantly hooked. Aesthetically, Control really impressed me, mainly because of how far they take office settings and turn them into large-scale shooter levels, but then they also twist and turn them into Doctor Strange-esque stuff. Plus, they really know how to make intimidating set pieces. My goodness, these giant voids that surround you in some of these areas are so cool. The aesthetic is pushed even further with all these logs you find and these videos ranging from little instructional videos with this dorky Dr. Darling character, or these creepy-ass puppet animations that still make me feel creeped out every time I think about them.
I'll help you look, Topher. We'll find your mama together.
Talking to the ghosts of the old CEO also makes for some of the most interesting and compelling dialogue I've ever heard in a game. These guys really know how to write people. I was enthralled by every word spoken in Control. They honestly had me eating out of the palm of their hands the whole game. A freaking light switch cord hanging from the ceiling makes me freak out because of the context it has in the game now. The combat is also really fun. It does feel like the natural evolution from the Max Payne Alan Wake gunplay, but you're fighting a lot more wild enemies than you would in either of those two games. You also get a lot of wacky abilities to use, so by the end of the game you'll be doing all all sorts of frantic and wild maneuvers against the hordes of enemies. Wasn't too much of a fan of finding these equipable upgrades that do the lame-ass 10% damage if the enemy is bald thing. They never feel worth it. I just kinda put on whatever the highest level stuff is and stopped thinking about it. My only other complaint is that the end of the game felt kind of abrupt. Kinda wish there was a more traditional final boss, but really I love my time with Control. With Control 2 being a thing in the near future and looking more akin to a Devil May Cry game, which as far as I know is way out of Remedy's wheelhouse, I'm excited to see what goofy antics Jesse and Dylan get up to in the next part of their story. Oh, and last thing here, as someone who has maintenance experience, Ahti the janitor is just a really, really cool character.
Ahti the janitor is a friendly face in my book.
Better than somebody with no face at all. Think about it. No face.
But that said, I know what you're thinking. If there's an axe murderer around, that's him.
For the longest time, I genuinely thought we would never get another Kirby Air Ride game. It was a really cool but niche GameCube game that you either played at a friend's house or you were the friend that owned it. Seeing Kirby Air Riders announced at the Nintendo Switch 2 reveal presentation, I was just absolutely shocked, if I'm being honest. Now that I've put a bunch of time into it, I gotta say, I really, really like this game, but I do have similar complaints to it that I have with Mario Kart World. And it's less that I don't think the game has enough content in it, it has plenty of it. We just already saw most of it during those 2 pre-release presentations. They really did not need to do a second presentation. They should have just stuck with the one and left all the other content a mystery. And this isn't just me being a bitch about spoilers, I just think it stinks when I already know what my presents are before I open them. They left like a few things a secret, but not enough for me to be surprised. I genuinely thought there would have been more than just one character that was left as a secret and was disappointed when that wasn't true. But regardless of that, unlike Mario Kart World, Kirby Air Riders is an absolute joy to play.
Excellent!
It plays just as, if not more smooth than the original game, it just has a sacrilegious additional button for special moves. It's buttery smooth, and I love the fact that there's more than just Kirby and they all have their own unique abilities to use. Going through the modes really quick, the Air Ride Racing is exactly what I wanted. All the new tracks are really cool, and the original tracks being included was absolutely the right call. Top Ride is still Top Ride. It's fun, albeit just about as fun as Top Ride was before, so take that as you will. You know, if I'm being honest, being able to select the same rides as the other modes does make it more fun. By like, you know, a whole letter grade, so it's a C+ now. And City Trial, I mean, come on, that's what we're all here for. The online City Trial mode has been such a blast, man, and I don't even usually win. I still have a great time with it, even when it gets fucking Normandy-esque.
Stay with us, darn ya!
The only new mode, Road Trip, is also a really good time. I dig the narrative for as simple as it is, and this Noir DDD character looks like he was designed in 2012 and got forgotten about until Sakurai found the sketch of him in the drawer and decided to roll with it. This is a compliment. I love how edgy he is. I think this single player mode is what was missing from the first game, because with this and the other 3 modes being fun as hell, this is the very first must-buy for the Switch in my opinion for anyone who's looking for a fantastic multiplayer game. Second must-buy overall right after DK Bonanza. I am 100% going to be coming back to City Trial for a long, long time. And if that doesn't make this a special game, I don't know what will. I didn't know what to expect from Blueprints after hearing about the premise, but I watched Vinny Vinesauce play it for about 5 minutes before I decided I wanted to play it for myself. What Blueprints is a deck-building-esque, roguelike-esque puzzle game in which you go into a house kind of like the one from House of Leaves, where every day the rooms on the inside shift around. Actually, it's kind of more like the oldest house in Control in that regard now that I think about it. You, however, can draft which room will show up in the next by picking from 3 or so randomly selected rooms that all come from a pool of rooms that you can draft each day. So like, you can only have one bathroom, you won't get another one unless you happen to find an item that adds another bathroom to your room pool. Goal is to get to the secret room on the other side of the house, but that's really just the main goal. What you'll really be doing is exploring all of these rooms and figuring out other ways to make them interact with each other and discover secret areas or find letters from the different residents of the house, telling you what exactly happened between them and the house's owner. It's a real vibes game, kind of like Fear and Hunger was for me. It's just nice to get lost in the atmosphere of Blueprints. You can find a lot of cool things, like putting a garage down is cool enough, but if you can power that garage with another room, you can open the door and explore the outside of the west side of the house. And you can even find a shed where you can also draft a room each day. There's a bunch of things to discover, and even though I finished the game, I definitely still haven't discovered everything, that's for sure. It's just a shame that because of the nature of the drafting system, sometimes you'll kinda get screwed over for like the 5th day in a row, and it can get really frustrating when you don't get anywhere for an entire play session because you can't get the one room you need to finish the only puzzle you're aware of at the moment. But I can't let it ruin the experience for me. I had a really good time with Blueprints and can't wait to see what they cook up next. I admit that I didn't really get the underlying narrative once I beat the game, but I also don't think getting it is the point. There's a lot of stuff to this game, and it's about what you find and do with that information, and I think that's really neat. When I was scrapping my brain for everything I played this year, I had a sudden realization that the very first game I played this year was Metaphor ReFantazio, and I was shocked that I'd forgotten that fact because I absolutely loved Metaphor. As a big fan of the Shin Megami Tensei series of games, seeing that Metaphor was essentially Persona in a fantasy world, it made me curious on how they would make that work. And they really knocked this one out of the park. It's also not as simple as Persona in a fantasy world like I thought. I mean, it is that to a certain degree, but it's also somewhat of a greatest hits of a bunch of games from the Megaten multiverse. It never feels like they're taking too much from other games though. It definitely has a strong identity of its own.
You're not alone. Let us settle this.
If you enjoy fantasy worlds where pretty much everyone you meet is racist as hell, you'll love this game because that plays a major part in its narrative as well. It's all about unifying the people in this one. You get your multicultural friend group to show that it doesn't matter what you look like. You can work together with your fellow man to lead the world to brighter pastures. Honestly, I think the cast in this game is its strongest suit. Aside from the archetype system being a nice breath of fresh air from the standard demon fusion these games usually do, everyone is an absolute joy to be around. Gallica is 100 times better than Morgana in every way, don't at me. Stroll is in the running for best bro character in any of these Megaten games, and I enjoy seeing Hulkenberg go from stoic and no nonsense to being a goober when it comes to food. I will say that even when a character is supposed to be silly or dumb, there's still a sense of nuance you get with everybody at least being emotionally intelligent in this game. There's no bathhouse scene or "oh, the boys are peeping on the girls" or any of the repeated scenes you always get in the Persona games. Everyone here acts like an adult, and any inner conflict they have is always from something real and pushes their characters forward. And I could never talk about this game without mentioning how cool of a villain Luis is.
Those who stand at my side, who oppose the powers that be, my protection is yours. Or refuse my hand and perish. I will lead us over your corpses.
You mean, just as you killed the king?
A country is heavier than a crown, and he could not bear it. Retribution past due.
Okay, yes, he does clearly fit a specific archetype, haha, but he still is the perfect tyrannical villain that wants to take the throne for himself. He is well-spoken and compelling. Sure, I could compare him to a certain annoying orange man in the way he outright does evil things and some people still want to vote for him, but it makes him just so fun to hate. Really, if you haven't played Metaphor yet and you like Persona, you should definitely play this game because it's really, really good. You know, this game might as well have been called Persona 6, but I'm glad it's its own thing. Sometimes it's fun to go into a fresh new game without needing any prior knowledge to get into the story. Speaking of which...
Time marches on, and the age of a new king draws nearer.
The very last game I played at the tail end of 2025 was Clair Obscur Expedition 33, and really, I don't need to tell you how good this game is. Whether or not it deserved all the awards it got at the Game Awards matters just about as much as the Game Awards do, but I think with how many publications and other content creators have been singing this game's praises, what more could I add? I went into this game expecting it to be a game I'd come out liking a lot given how everyone was reacting to it. I didn't expect it to blow me away like it did. By the end of the game, I just knew this was going to be a game I won't stop thinking about for a very long time.
You know, hobbies don't always have to be useful. I'm enjoying the uselessness of today and readying my usefulness for tomorrow.
And soon, I'll get to do a lot more than throw rocks.
Look, here's the mission statement of Clair Obscur Expedition 33. What if Final Fantasy kept making turn-based RPGs after 10, and also kept them in the style of Final Fantasies 1 through 9, and also became really French for some reason? Sprinkle in some Paper Mario-esque mechanics and a story that will make you feel every emotion under the sun except for boredom, and yeah, you got a game that strikes me at my core. I guess the only complaint I have is some quality of life improvements would have been nice, like being able to respec when you lose a fight or switching out your party members during a battle, and I accidentally got overpowered for the final boss, so they probably should have had some scaling for that. Apparently that's an issue a lot of people have, so they added in the ability to buff the enemies if you want to do that. But other than that, this game feels like it was made by people who just love the medium of video games. The director of the game has a YouTube channel full of Devil May Cry combo videos, okay? That's the kind of people that made this. I'm gonna be honest, I'm having a really hard time writing this part because I don't want to say too much or overhype it because everyone's different. There's a chance that it won't speak to you the same way it did for me. But I just love everything about this game. The characters, the story, the gameplay, the art direction, the goddamn music is living rent-free in my head right now. I think you should at least try this game if you haven't yet, because like, I finished it about a month ago and I'm still thinking about it, especially the ending choice and everything leading up to it. It's just so good. The only reason why it isn't my number one is because there was another game I played over the summer that occupied the space of rent-free in my head first. And Clair Obscur Expedition 33, for as good as a game as it is, I would even say it's probably a better game overall than my number one, is merely sharing that space with what I consider my favorite gaming experience of 2025.
Quite kidding.
Did you really think that a giga shit remake of my favorite game of all time wasn't going to be my number one? Because it's not, I didn't play it. Alan Wake 2 completely shocked me as being a game that I would be thinking about for a long time. I played Alan Wake 1 a while ago, and I liked it a lot, but I didn't really like its repetitive gameplay as much. Control definitely fixed the repetitive nature of Alan Wake's gameplay, and it made me really interested as to where the story was going to go after playing the AWE DLC in Control, which is basically a teaser for Alan Wake 2. So my fiance and I sat down and finally gave Alan Wake 2 a go. And really, we were just eating out of the palm of this game's hands for the whole ride.
Do I know you? I know you from somewhere.
You've just forgotten again. We're in this together. Don't worry. I got you now. We've been working great.
I'm losing you. Hello? Hello?
Gameplay-wise, it initially wasn't anything special. It kind of felt like those Resident Evil remakes did. But the Alan Wake gameplay of using light to take the darkness off the enemies to make them weak works so much better in this more slow-paced survival horror style as opposed to the original game's action horror angle. In addition to that, both Saga and Alan have their own unique mechanics for figuring out each segment that they're in. Saga can pin her discoveries to a board like that one Always Sunny meme picture, and she can also psychologically interrogate people to figure out information she needs, which leads to some really cool moments. Alan, on the other hand, is trapped in the metaphysical dark space, so he can use its writing to alter each area into different versions of itself. You find all sorts of manuscript pages read by Alan himself, which, for as debatable as it can be on whether or not Alan Wake the character is a good writer, his voice actor, Matthew Porretta, does such a good job making Alan sound so intense during these. I absolutely love it.
The dark presence. Jagger had taken him. The witch had stolen his heart. They sank beneath the waves. The dark place, wandering in the shadows, muttering to themselves. It's dark. I'm lost. Where am I? Who am I? I can't remember. It's cold. Premium cabins for rent in Bright Falls.
You also find echoes from Alan's fictional character, Alex Casey, which is literally just Max Payne. They had to change the name because of copyright. And man, what we lost with the passing of Alex Casey's voice actor, James McCaffrey. Such a unique voice that gets so much out of these little bits.
An FBI agent had come here before me on the trail of a murder cult. He'd gone missing, presumed dead. The cult was leaving me clues to follow, connecting the dots from one murder to the next. inviting me to draw an obscene picture on the city map. Caldera Street Station. The name made me think of the exit wound of a bullet.
I think what really made Alan Wake 2 hit me as hard as it did was its narrative. It really plays around with keeping it vague when certain things are happening and how time actually progresses through the dark place versus the real world. Some of the reveals absolutely caught me off guard. I won't spoil it if you haven't played it, but one of Alan's segments has to be one of my new favorite levels in all of gaming. It's so well paced, and it's such a unique idea that I need to find out who decided this so I can ask them to direct the rest of my life. It's such a fun game, thoroughly entertaining from beginning to end, such unique ideas in it too. Guys, there's a full-ass short film in the game that just plays in one of the rooms. It even has a New Game Plus that's worth playing for narrative purposes. Guys, if you really appreciate how video game narratives are different from other mediums, you gotta play Alan Wake 2. It helps if you've played Alan Wake 1 in Control, but honestly, even if you just read up on those games, it would be fine. Hell, no, you know what? You don't even need to. You can just hop into 2 and still have a great time. The only issue is that if you want to get Alan Wake 2 on PC, you gotta use Epic Game Store, which, yeah, that's a big ask. But it's on PlayStation and Xbox, so get it however you can and play it because it is so good.
But yeah, sad to say, I've not written this. I'd remember if I'd written a book, right?
Or maybe it was written by your evil double.
So, Alan Wake 2 is my favorite game I played this year, but ooh, number 0, how can this be? There is one other video game related thing that I kinda love more than Alan Wake 2. See, for years I've wanted a Sega Dreamcast, since I never owned one. So my fiance got me one for Christmas, but thought it might be underwhelming if it was just what I wanted. So she went out of her way to make me a whole ass fake Dreamcast magazine filled with art she made, fake ads, articles she either did legit research on or related it to stuff from our personal lives, a whole page about fake video games we've talked about from time to time. She even did a page based on me with a Q&A with me that I remember answering without knowing why she was asking me such random questions. And this is just... oh, it's so cool. Like, yes, I'm so excited to have my Dreamcast now, but this magazine, man, I just keep looking at it and I'm so happy that someone would put this much effort into something tailor-made towards my own interests. So, Kelsey, I've said it 1 million times already, but thank you so much for this. Now that we're in 2026, I don't know what it's going to be like, but hopefully this year we will get some cool games, but I honestly want to take some time and play older things from the last few years, like Final Fantasy 16 or Lies of P. And I also really just want to play retro stuff. Now that I have a Dreamcast, I'm sure I'm going to be digging into that library, and Illbleed will one day be mine. Just remember, folks, do your best this year, and hopefully by this time next year we'll both be better than we are now.
Ryan, you're gonna get rude.
Shut up, quadruped.